you grow up?
Born and raised in Auckland, but I'm not actually from there. It's interesting spending your entire life somewhere, but feeling like you belong somewhere else.
Yeah, that really resonates with me.
Yeah.
So I'm the same, where you're like, well, Wellington's my home. I've only ever been here. But I want to know what it's like to go to a place where you are from, and it's undeniable. Poetry has really created a voice for me and an ability to talk about things that are hard to talk about. Before I found poetry in the way that I did, I think there was a lot of grief and a lot of feelings of inadequacy kind of being battled within me. I'm not that person anymore. And I read it and I go, oh, I remember feeling this way. I'm so glad I don't feel that way anymore.
Kia ora, I'm Ash. This is great, sounds great. I've heard from one person tonight that they thought this was a band called Poetry. So if that's you, I hope you're pleasantly surprised. Anyway, Khadro Mohamed is a writer and poet from Pōneke. Her debut collection, We're All Made of Lightning, published by Tender Press in 2022, won the Jessie Mackay Prize for the Best First Book of Poetry at Ockham New Zealand Book Awards. She is currently working on a novel. Khadro.
In a story, I am 5, with tiny curls strung with beads hanging at the sides of my face. My mother has spun the globe on its side and pointed to the very corner of the African continent. Dalkega, she told me. Here is home. This is where I learnt to harvest by the moon. In that same story, I told her she was mine home. Thank you.
Oh, how do you feel?
I feel a lot better now.
Yeah, you did so
It really
good.
wasn't that bad.
No, it wasn't.
I was really nervous about this one, just because the crowd is like not poetry crowd. So I was like not sure. But then I got up there and I was like, oh, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you did it.
Yeah.
When I won the Ockham, I was excited and really happy and really grateful. But I was also really kind of freaked out by it. Yeah, it's a bit like somebody reading your diary out loud. It was a pressure and a responsibility that I've had to wear with honour, and that it was just trying my best to write about myself and my own personal experience, but also honour Muslims, particularly Muslim women, and I always say they're my target audience. I am really proud of being African and being Muslim, and a lot of that is because of poetry. I enjoy performing my poetry everywhere, but a lot of the times it's in environments that aren't as Muslim friendly, like bars. I also really like creating my own. I think a lot of that is because I can make a space where my Muslim friends can come and watch me, and they can be just as comfortable as I am. So I've put together 3 poets, so they can come and perform in a musalla, which is a prayer space. And I think that is a space that I'm particularly comfortable in. And there's a poet, Stevie, whose poetry I've seen on YouTube, who's really resonated with me. So I've invited her from Tāmaki, and I know she's really proud of being Māori. So it would be really great to learn a little bit more about her interpretation of wanting to go back home.
I tipu ake au I konei, I Tāmaki Makaurau, and he kai kōrero toi kupu ahau. Yes, I identify as urban Māori. No, no shame in that. There definitely used to be. I used to feel huge shame. So being urban Māori means that you live or you are raised in the cities, in the urban areas, and places where you don't whakapapa to. Those connections, they're huge in te ao Māori. And when you aren't raised on the whenua that you are from, it can feel very disconnecting. And then I think through a period of learning more, reclaiming my language, reclaiming my identity, has just made me realise actually I am urban Māori, and it's just who I am. Storytelling is an inherent part of who we are as Māori. That's how we transferred a lot of our knowledge, was through story, as well as other art forms like whakapapa. So I think in finding this medium of storytelling, it is another way that I express my Māoritanga. I think urban Māori are heavily influenced by Black American culture. Spoken word poetry comes from Black urban communities in the United States and America. So I definitely acknowledge that we are able to have this art form here because there are other communities laying down these pathways and paving these ways for new forms of creativity to come about. To the place I have loved and longed for, Te Taitokero Northland. You are what tūrangawaewae means to me. I have always belonged to you, but you have never belonged to me. I long for the morning of my return. Like my grandmother, you welcome me home, arms outstretched towards me, palms wide, heart open as you whisper, my daughter, I have been waiting for you. Welcome home.
Yeah, it was just really touching. Like, it's so relatable. Yeah, so relatable. I feel very distant from my homeland, and I'm from Northland as well, which is crazy. You know, I'm from Hokianga, and I feel exactly like everything you've said in that poem, and like, yeah, it just really touches me.
We should do this every Sunday.
We should.
I'm really passionate about when it comes to these ideas of identity and belonging. So I'm really looking forward to connecting with Khadro to see what identity and belonging looks like for her.
So this is Newtown. What was it like growing up here?
It's really nice, yeah, especially on Saturday. So it's, I think, the only place in Wellington where you see this kind of hustle and bustle, and like there's all halal shops are here. So seeing lots of Muslims come shopping.
Nice.
Yeah, this is one of my favourite cafes.
Cool.
But there's like tons up and down the street.
This place seems cool too, though.
Yeah, this is really nice, I reckon.
Thank you.
If you go down, you know, Newtown on any given day, you'll find at least 10 Muslims. But I've definitely seen it change quite a lot as well. It's gotten bougier and a lot but still, it's got its little magic, I think. Yeah. So where did you grow up?
So I was born and raised in Auckland, but I'm not actually from there. So I whakapapa, or I connect to Ngāpuhi, which is north of Auckland, and then a few other places. It's interesting, like spending your entire life somewhere, but feeling like you belong somewhere else. I still believe that Auckland is my home, but it's not where I'm from.
I'm the same. I've came here when I was 2, but I tell people I was born and raised here just because I don't have any recollection of Somalia at all. Yeah. Everything is just being in Wellington. So it's like I have a really strong connection to the city and to this area, but I feel like I whakapapa to Somalia, and I feel a particular, at least recently, a particular connection, and I'm wanting to go back.
Have you been back to Somalia?
I haven't. I think that's why I romanticize it a lot. It's probably really different. So there's this term in Somali, and it's called daqanalis. It's usually reserved for like naughty Westerners who go back to Somalia to try and like relearn their culture and be good again. But it's also a term that can be used to make fun of Somalis who aren't Somali enough. If I went back to Somalia, if I was called that, I'd be like really, really sad about it. I'm definitely Somali. There's like no ifs or buts about it. I am fluent in my mother tongue, thank God, and I'm relatively connected to my culture, but there's still a sense of not being Somali enough. And I think, like, even the way I wear my hijab or the way I dress, if I went back to Somalia, I think I would be clocked as a Westerner very, very quickly.
Really?
Yeah.
Can I ask why?
I think it's just like the way you walk. There's just something about Westerners that people back home just know that we're different.
We have a term called Ahi Ka, which is like keeping the home fires burning. And then there's Ahi Mahana or Ahi Tere Tere, which is for people who like go back every now and again and still are kind of connected but aren't there all the time. So I definitely feel like there's this responsibility that we have to like go back home often, and it's not easiest for me, so I can imagine how challenging that must feel for you.
Yeah. 4 of them down the street, so it's pretty good.
I love op shops.
This is the Middle Eastern market that everyone kind of goes to in the area, to be honest.
Nice.
Nowhere else like it, I think.
Okay, guys, so I sussed us some kai. So you just have some bread, break some off, and dip it in all of these little condiments.
You just take a little bit of everything.
Cool.
So the textures and the flavours are really similar to Somali cuisine.
Often Māori kai is very bland. Or like some of our kai, like hangi and boil up. It's still yum. I love it, but doesn't have like a lot of spices and stuff. So so nice to eat kai like this.
My dad does the cooking because like my mum is Māori and my dad's Pakistani, and so like he's got the better kai.
That's really why I wanted you two both to meet, because I think, Tahira, you're a really good like mix of us both. Being both Māori and Muslim. Yeah.
What was it like for you growing up as Muslim and Māori?
It was cool. Like like as a baseline, it was like I loved it. The sense of belonging that I feel in Aotearoa is like untouchable. But more than like Māori or Pakistani cultures, really religion was more emphasised. Like I feel so lucky to have 2 places, and I feel like really connected to both.
I think that's like what makes our experiences both similar and different.
Yeah,
is that
exactly.
like for me, New Zealand is home. It's always been home. And it probably always will be home. But there's also this sense of like, oh, where do I really fit in? Because I wear my faith, I think, a bit like you wear it physically, our hijab. So everywhere you go, you are Muslim first before you're anything else. I think that makes you wear your faith in a different kind of way.
Totally.
Yeah.
I totally get that, because I think about like when I chose to get my moko kauai, it was like I was choosing to have a physical representation of my Māori identity everywhere I went. It's like a responsibility almost, but like I really enjoy having a kauai because it like makes me feel very proud to be Māori. So is that how you feel about wearing hijab?
Yeah, I think so. I've struggled with the hijab throughout my life in lots of different ways, but at the same time, I always come back to still choosing to wear it. But I think like everything, things like fluctuate. Especially after 2019, I feel like wearing the hijab was just a completely different experience. It was before it was something you wore, didn't really think about, and suddenly it was, oh my God, wearing this could make me a target of something. But in saying that, it's still a country that I can't help but love and still call it home.
So with the poetry reading this afternoon, I know that we're going to be doing that in a Muslim space. And so I just wanted to ask you both, like, what is the tikanga of us going into the space? Like, how should I be holding myself? What's the go with that?
You're really like welcome, and like it's not a mosque, so it's a bit less formal. It's a musalla, so just a place where we pray and gather and stuff, and it's not segregated. There won't be any seats, so we sit on the floor.
Cool.
Shoes off at the door. Yeah,
It's like a marae.
Yeah.
It sounds like a marae.
If you act like you were in a marae,
Yeah, cool.
you'll be sweet. But yeah, you can wear a hijab if you want to, but like you totally don't need to either.
I've been thinking about this, and like I would really like to, just out of respect, I think, for the whare, and out of respect for you both. Is that okay?
Yeah, I love you too.
Yeah, I love that. You'll definitely have to show me how to do it though.
I would wear it kind of simply. Just tuck your hair away a little bit and then just over the shoulder. I think that's how I would wear it. Beautiful. Nervous?
Yeah. A place to stand, connection to the land, whenua to whenua. Our people urbanized, trading home for city life, dim-lit candles for brighter lights. I cannot trace my ancestors' footsteps, so I will have to make my own and bring them with me. I will remember who I am and where my people came from, unapologetic we, urban Māori,
I tell her about the uneasiness I feel in trying to find a way into Te Ao Māori when I haven't grown up in it. There is a friction that it creates, a fire inside the house that no one acknowledges. She doesn't know what to say to that.
Long, swollen fingers reaching out in desperation. From the tip of each branch, like a fat purple fig, a future beckoned and sighed.
I think my tongue was born here because I can taste the stillness of the winter, the way it cuts through my skin. I can even taste the sunset, the budding of the kōwhai, the sharp sand of Karaka Bay that rips my soles wide open and leaves remnants to be washed away. I think if I ever lost myself, I could taste my way back.